Welcome back to Chinese Guy America.
I said it wrong. Okay, let's be serious.
You do it. You just do it. You do it.
Okay. Welcome back to American Guy, Chinese Girl. Today we are going to talk about the top 5 places that we have visited in the past. Yeah.
Okay.
So the number 1 is
Number
Bermuda.
Bermuda. I don't know if it's a place that people are so familiar with, but I think it's flying a little bit under the radar. I read a long document after we had gone there about actually the music scene in Bermuda, music and tourism. So I learned some about the tourist industry, and it's definitely declined over time. And I guess there was more of an apex in like the 70s or something like that for Bermuda. Bermuda has a fascinating history. It's just an incredible place. It's gorgeous. It has so many different beautiful beaches that you can go to, pristine colors. And even in peak tourist season, it was sparse in terms of how crowded the beaches were. Peaceful, just endless beauty there.
Both of us have traveled a lot of places in the world. I would say in terms of the natural beauty, it's very hard for you to find a place that has more stunning landscape or natural beauty than Bermuda. And the color is just so nice, you just couldn't imagine a more clear and more nice blue color there is. And it's just wonderful. And I feel like Bermuda, it's very clean. And the people there, whether it's local or tourists, are very friendly. And you don't need to worry about vendors approaching you or sell you things. It's very nice, and all the beaches, they are free. You don't have to pay anything to go, and then as Noah said, not crowded at all, which is very nice.
We got around by scooter, which I personally thought was a lot of fun. Shuang kind of got tired of it being the wind blowing and the heat, maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but it's really nice to be able to get around the island by scooter. It's really easy, very accessible. Then you can park, kind of anywhere. But I also want to echo about the culture and the people that we met. It seemed everyone we met was really friendly. I think it's got a very unique, fascinating, and special culture.
Yes.
In fact, we talk about moving there sometimes. We've talked about that even from the standpoint of from a cultural standpoint, because we feel like it's a very open-minded place. The scooter that we were on broke down at one point. It started just shutting off in the middle of the road, which was not good. First people that passed us by just checked in and stopped to try to help us and make sure that everything was okay. Genuinely just stopping in to help.
And very safe, very low crime.
And it's a small island, but it's not too small. There's a lot to explore. It's got a pretty happening city,
I would say by scooter, you probably, if you want to go to one end to the other, you probably will 2.5 or 3 hours. So we were there 4 or 5 days, and we still got a decent tourist destination we didn't get to go to. That's on the other side of the island. So it's not so small.
It's also not a budget breaker. You're able to do it in a relatively affordable way if you plan in advance and make good decisions.
Yeah.
We were able to stay on a waterfront Airbnb for a very affordable rate. I'll leave the rate out. I guess maybe if people really want to know, they can message us. Shuang might say,
I'm happy to give you the Airbnb we stayed.
Next one.
The next one is Mallorca.
Spain. This was one of the first places that we went after we were married. It's one of the first destinations that we went to.
Yeah, it's considered a part of our honeymoon trip.
Yeah.
That Mallorca, I found I got inspired by so many, Instagram photos or the YouTubers I follow. I just thought, from all the picture that I have seen, it's seem incredibly stunning, with the Mediterranean, ocean that's sparkly, a blue with green color / the very interesting landscape, cliffs and different stuff. I just thought that was so pretty, so I kind of planned the trip. And then we went to a holiday there, and it was absolutely magical. It's I would say it's really hard to imagine a place that's more beautiful and more diverse than Mallorca. Because Mallorca is a very big island, compared to Bermuda, it's way bigger. And the landscape, like from one side to the other, you get the ocean, you get the mountain, you get maybe some plantation, grew tea leaves, or maybe some vineyard. Like it's just the variety. It's like and we even did a hike around a lake area that's connected to the ocean. It's just the landscape is very diverse. You basically, if you visit there, you can basically do so many things. It's not just about the beaches.
You can't run out of things to do there. It's a very large island. I mean, if you'd have to live there for a significant amount of time to run out of things to do. There's a lot to see.
Yeah.
And I would just echo that it's a beautiful landscape, and there's a lot of variety. You have mountains along with the beaches, these cliffs, and it's kind of everything. Almost every kind of landscape is there.
Yeah.
Maybe aside from like a desert. I don't think that they have a desert.
Yeah.
The water's beautiful.
Yeah. I think it has more shades of colors in the ocean.
So too. Yeah. We were struggling to decide, would we put Mallorca first or would we put Bermuda first? And I think both of us would agree overall the main thing that separates is the ease of travel for us living in South Carolina. It's a lot easier for us to access Bermuda, and for her to get a Schengen visa in order to go to Mallorca, Spain is a pretty big struggle for us. Yeah. And so we have to drive to a city like 5 hours away and do a lot of paperwork and all that. So if we didn't have to do all that, I think we'd both agree that overall Mallorca probably takes it.
Yes.
Mallorca is a special place, and like we said, it has so much there. We also visited Chopin's home, a place that Chopin, the famous piano composer, where he stayed.
There was a really beautiful village called Valdemosa. That's where, it's like so pretty. Like you got a very romantic Spanish small village, and you can stroll through the alley. It's like so romantic. I would say also a good thing about Mallorca is, you might to your surprise, it's actually very affordable compared to the Caribbean islands or what. I feel like you get most value, for your bucks. Yeah, it's very affordable. The hotel in 2019 we went was only $90 and includes all-inclusive dinner.
Eat, yeah.
But you have to go eat lunch somewhere. But the dinner was awesome.
I guess the only other thing I'd say is it looks like it's got great waves. The waves. So if you like surfing, I think there's probably some great surfing to be had there. So much to explore. And then we also really enjoyed the food. I think there were some places that we walked to locally that we just really enjoyed the food. Sean got to try some rabbit or something like that maybe you don't get other places. And
the Spanish food are very tasty.
Yeah.
All
right, number 3, we put Cancun.
Yeah.
So why is Cancun good?
Cancun is, I feel like the ocean is so pretty. The color, you got this stunning Caribbean, like ocean color is just unbeatable. And I just feel like the main thing about Cancun is it's kind of a central location for us to access, different towns or different tourist attractions. It's a good central point. So we actually visited, we didn't just stay in Cancun. We visited a lot of nearby places. For example, the pyramid. Even at that time, because of COVID, it was closed. And you got different cenotes, which is this very pretty, giant, ancient swimming hole. Like they got all different kinds. And also we went to Playa del Carmen, and we also went to Tulum. And both of them are like this small oceanfront village, are very nice and has their own unique characteristics. And we really enjoyed all of this. And I think there is a tiny island, which we didn't get the time to go while we were there, called Cozumel.
I've been there actually.
But just not on the mutual trip we did, which was very pretty too. You can take the ferry. It's just so many things you can do nearby Cancun. I really like it.
Cozumel is cool. I would just, again, echo pretty much everything she's saying. And just that there's Cancun, I'll speak to the American audience right now. I feel like Cancun, at least for me, I always thought of it as a college party destination. I think that's kind of the reputation that it has. But I would just say they have good taste. There's a reason why that's the place they want to go to when they party. Now, probably a lot of the college party destination or college partiers mostly stay just in that area where their hotel is. We rented a car, and I think that is really the true value, or what really Cancun has to offer, is that there's so much around it. There's so much to see. We enjoyed. Didn't we take a boat trip to go see the pyramid, or not the pyramid, but like the ruins? There were some ruins.
There were ruins in Tulum because we went at a heavy COVID time, so they closed down the ruins in Tulum, which was the biggest tourist thing. But we took a boat and tried to see it across the ocean.
The cenote was wonderful. We went out maybe two hours inland to go to the cenote, and we stopped by a town called Valladolid, which was really neat to see this little town where they had these big colorful letters of the name of the town. And maybe, as Mallorca was diverse in terms of its geology, and just how, from the oceans to the cliffs to the mountains, the terrain was so diverse. Cancun is maybe diverse. There's a lot of different areas. So and then to top it all off, the water, it's a really beautiful place. Cancun itself is just a very beautiful place. Swimming, it's nice to swim, and Okay, so from here's where we're gonna get. We start to split, and we have slightly different opinions on what 4 and 5 would be. And so I'm gonna let Shuang say what her number 4 would be, and then I'll tell you what my number 4 would be.
The number 4 for me is Cabo. So we took a trip to Cabo, was probably about 3 or 4 years ago, right in the midsummer, which was very hot. But despite how hot it was, I feel like personally we had a lot of fun, because I just feel like Cabo, if you're just looking for a Caribbean vacation that has the most stunning water, most peaceful, you can swim or snorkel, Cabo probably is not your place. But if you up for a little bit of adventure, take a boat to try to see, this rough ocean with those rock formation, kind of stone, like a formation on the ocean, I feel like that's really cool. And we rent a boat to go to the Lovers Beach and the Divorce Beach, which is this tiny island on the ocean, and then they can drop you there. You can spend a little bit of time. I thought it was really cool. And also there is a beach called Menudo Beach. I think it's in the main tourist area. One night we were walking on the beach with the moon like shining on the ocean, was like so peaceful, so romantic, with the some boats far and some rock formation inside of the ocean. It's like really nice. And also the highlight for me about Cabo is because of the sun, Hotel California. There was a sun. The Hotel California is actually, I think, happened at a town that's about 2 to 3 hours away from Cabo, called Todos Santos. And because we rented a car, we were able to go there and then walk around this very tiny, quaint village, and then to go see the Hotel California.
Real quick, the Hotel California, for anybody that doesn't know, is a famous song by the Eagles. It's a remarkably famous song in the U.S. by a band called the Eagles.
It's very famous in China too, this song. I think everybody knows the song. Yeah, and we had a lot of fun doing that road trip. And overall, I just really like Cabo. I would like to basically go back at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, so Cabo wasn't my number 4. I think we stayed in a resort that I didn't particularly care for called Posada Real.
But it was ocean front.
It was fine, but not my favorite. But and there was a good taco place that was right down the street from us. We had some really good tacos. But it was hot when we were there too. But
the hottest time of the year.
But there definitely is a lot of merit to Cabo. Cabo's got a lot of good stuff going on. The marina is very cool, And like you
Yes.
said about Menudo Beach, that was a really nice
Yeah,
time. I
especially
remember
at night.
in particular when we were out there that night, just, Shuang was talking about how beautiful she thought that was. So I remember that was a really special moment. So for me, number 4, I'm going to say Dominican Republic, but I'm not going to say Dominican Republic as a whole. I'm going to say specifically a resort in the Dominican Republic. I think overall we had a good experience in Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic has some challenges that we encountered. For example, driving from where we first stayed. We stayed in a resort near the airport where we landed, and then we drove, about 6 hours or something like that? Maybe
4 hours.
4 hours to Samana, to the next resort after a couple days in the first resort. And on the drive to Samana, as you will probably encounter if you're ever in Dominican Republic, on the highways or on the roads between cities, you have people that come out pretending to be police or be some official for the state, but they're not. They're not really officials for the state. We didn't stop for them because Shuang did research ahead of time that you just keep going and then they move out of the way, but they'll literally walk into the road. I guess they're going to try to get you to give them money.
Yeah, they will scam you.
Drive at them, obviously not to the point that if they don't move, you're going to hit them, but just to indicate you're not stopping. And once they understand you're not stopping, they move out of the way. Yeah. So that, is maybe one of the less appealing, although it was kind of adventurous in a way.
I didn't really like
But fundamentally, it's one of the less appealing aspects. You don't really want to deal with that when you're on your trip. Some of the Caribbean islands we went to were kind of like that. Like we had a negative encounter when we were in Jamaica, for example.
Yeah.
To get to the more specific part about Dominican Republic, there's a resort that I'm going to name, and it's called Bahia Principe. They've got Bahia Principes all over the place. But this one was in Samana. It's my favorite resort we've stayed at. I think it's beautiful. There's a cool hiking bridge, like many different bridges that kind of jut out into the water that you can go out on. There were local kids that were jumping from the bridge and climbing back up, and it was a pretty high bridge. The hike probably took us maybe about 30 minutes. Those bridges go out pretty far. And there's multiple beaches just within the resort itself. Quiet and peaceful. It was affordable. The food was great. It was all-inclusive, and lots of places that you could walk around and have privacy within the resort. They had live entertainment in the evenings if that's something that you're looking for, and I just loved it. It was peaceful, relaxing, romantic, beautiful. They had a waterfront glass elevator that you could walk into. We also would drive outside of the resort, as we pretty much always do, because we want to explore and see as much as we can. And there was a beach called Jaco Beach that was one of the most beautiful beaches we've ever seen. It was absolutely stunning. I don't know if you would call it mountains, but there were
there are
like
definitely
mountains.
Mountain drop as a backdrop.
Mountain backdrop
with the
beautiful
waves,
big open
ocean,
water. Yeah, waves.
Crystal clear water.
It was stunning. When we pulled up, it's like one of those moments. Maybe because there's some mist in the air too. Yeah. There've been a couple moments in my life where you see something that
like wow,
it takes your breath away.
Yeah,
and you feel like you've seen something that reaches a new level of beauty than anything you've ever seen before.
Yeah. So the number 5.
Number 5
for me is Puerto Rico. We all know Puerto Rico is part of U.S. and right now we live in the United States. So for us to go, it's not only affordable, quick flights. Also, if you're just looking for an easy, nice vacation, I think Puerto Rico, fits out. Basically, you don't need to worry about the cultural shock. You don't need to prep yourself too much. You can basically just pack and go. And in Puerto Rico, we didn't really encounter vendors or people try to, harass us or try to get money from us. So that was really nice. And all the beaches, I think they are free, at least the one we have been to. And Puerto Rico is a very big island, just like Mallorca. So you got a lot of different landscape, a lot of things, different beaches to go. It just overall very, very nice, very interesting. Of course, you got the San Juan, the main capital city, has some fort, has some castles. That was exploring in the city and, dining at some restaurants or bars were very interesting. It's like these colorful buildings, very nice. Yeah, I just feel like Puerto Rico is definitely, I feel like it's very easy, like a peace of mind vacation. You are definitely gonna enjoy some beaches, some hikes, and it's affordable. Even though I would say the car rental and the hotel are,
they're more expensive.
yeah, but you can try to rent an Airbnb and cook at Airbnb. That's gonna make your cost low. So overall, I think it's pretty affordable overall Puerto Rico. Yeah, and I like it. So that's my number 5.
There was a cool like a river that we went to in Puerto Rico, and they've got like rainforests, right? They've got like
oh, that's a big national park.
Yeah.
Uyunkun National Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some very neat stuff to explore there.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And we didn't even scratch,
The surface.
the surface at all. We stayed there like 5 days, and still there are massive parts
Yeah.
we didn't get to explore.
Yeah.
And even that, we did lots of driving.
Yeah, we did.
So it's definitely a place you can constantly go back to and still have new things waiting for you.
Yep. All right, my number 5 is going to be St. John of the U.S. Virgin Islands.
I thought you were gonna say Jamaica.
No, it's there was one aspect to Jamaica that I really liked, and that was the bioluminescence bay. Bioluminescent Bay and Blue Lagoon in Jamaica were really special experiences for me, so I absolutely loved that. But we also went to St. Bart's and St. Martin, and I'll give an honorable mention to St. Bart's. It's a really special place if you ever get the chance to go, and Shuang's going to make a video about that place.
Yeah, like very different from all the other Caribbean islands, I would
Yes,
say.
it is.
Yeah,
It is.
has a
It's-
unique culture.
It is.
Yeah.
It's completely different from many of the other islands that we've been to. A lot of the Caribbean islands have similarities, and
Right.
they're not so different from one another. St. Bart is unique. So for me, I'm saying St. John from the U.S. Virgin Islands, and specifically St. John because we didn't care too much for St. Thomas. I feel like out of any of the places that we've been, the relationship with the local culture was worst in St. Thomas.
The capital city, you definitely need to watch for, and you don't
Yeah.
want to be there at night.
We had a nice spot that we found in St. Thomas, but we really, by the time we were in St. Thomas, we kind of just wanted to leave. That's the way I felt. But St. John, that's kind of where we spent. We landed on St. Thomas. We took a sort of not a taxi, but what do they call them? A bus, like
Safari,
a safari bus, which was kind of fun.
which locals use.
Locals use
Yeah.
it. So we took that to the ferry, and then took the ferry to St. John. St. John has an entirely different feel from St. Thomas. It's much quieter. It feels much safer. We stayed at a place called Cinnamon Bay Campground, and while we did struggle to get sleep because we were sleeping in tents and it was a little uncomfortable, and the deer, there's lots of wild deer everywhere in the campground. And they're very cool. It's very cool to see them, but they are very active at night, and they're very loud. At first, it just feels like people are out there, and you don't know what it is until you realize it's just a whole bunch of deer. And so they're very loud. It's kind of hard to get sleep. Sometimes they just start running at full speed, and it feels like they're running right at your tent. Other than that, the Cinnamon Bay Campground, the beach was really beautiful and super peaceful. And I just felt like maybe it was the timing for us. It was just nice to have a low-key space that was safe, relaxing, and quiet and peaceful, and you had space to yourself. And then there were other beaches nearby that we walked to. We did maybe about 30 or 40-minute walks either way to get to a couple other beaches.
It's the Trunk Bay and the Maho Bay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got to swim with some sea turtles on that trip, and
Yeah, I would
was very
say the watercolor in Saint John is just reached a whole new level in terms of clarity. You have never seen so. It's like the drinking water you are having. It's literally that sparkly, clean and transparent. It's definitely a very, the beach is like so clean, and the water is like stunning. Yeah, it's like very unique. I would give it that. Yeah.
so that's it. And to cap it all off, my closing, and then you should do the closing of your own. My closing would just be, these are some of our favorites, right? And given our reasoning for them, but there are so many. That's what we continue to discover, is there's so many beautiful, wonderful places in the world, and so many of these different islands or places that maybe didn't make our top 5, they still have extraordinary things about them, and there's just so much to see. So this is just something that we enjoyed. Yeah.
These are just based on our personal experience. So yeah, and I think that's it. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. And then if you have any questions, just put your comments down below. Yeah. We'll be back.
Bye-bye.